Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll start with a brief statement from Coach. After that, we'll come to your questions.
Really excited about, obviously, the outcome of the game. That game was extremely interesting. Purdue was a fabulous football team. Very, very close game. Anybody could have won it at the end. But when you look at the turnovers and the kicking game, and I just felt like that one turnover and what was the stuff that was going on in the kicking game was the difference. Penalties did matter. We came in and did a good job with our penalties. They had a couple more than we did. And because of that, I think kind of slighted us to the favor that we came out victorious with the game. We have a very serious opponent this week. Coach Elliott's in his first season with the University of Virginia. We know what that team did last year. And obviously, they've got very, very good personnel and an outstanding quarterback in Brennan Armstrong. And once again, just like Malik, just like the young man from Purdue, we're playing some of the top quarterbacks in the country, and we expect it to be a close game again. Questions?
I have a couple of personnel questions to start us off. Isaiah Jones came off near the end of the game, holding his arm again. What's his status? Did he re-injure that camp injury, or what's going on there?
Isaiah's probably done for the year.
And then second one, Garrett kind of alluded to some stuff going on last week. I was told there's maybe some sickness among the team. You willing to elaborate at all on what happened last week with that?
All personal.
All personal?
Mm-hmm.
So Sean Tucker's longest run this year is 13 yards. I don't know if the better question is how or why, but what do you kind of chalk that up to?
I'm not quite sure. It's something that we definitely is putting underneath a microscope because we feel like it needs to change. But defenses are coming out to stop him. He's doing other things as well. But still, those numbers need to be better than what they are.
Do you think you got dinged up week one? Is that a variable involved in your mind?
I would say based off of a running back with the amount of work that he does during the year and has done in the past, that he's physically healthy.
Thanks.
Brent, Alex?
Coach, you mentioned after the game that halftime was very NFL-like in your adjustments. Now that you've seen the film a few times, what was your overview of how this team overcame some adversity once that game got crazy in the fourth quarter?
Again, I just thought the team really, when you think about what went on, it was like a 12-round heavyweight fight in the fourth quarter. But you would never even get the fourth quarter if you didn't have the outstanding defense that both sides were playing. Guys had some guys open, and some guys made plays and some guys didn't make plays. To go from what that score was at the end of the third to what the end of the game was amazing. Not only from the fantastic defense that both sides was playing, but both offenses not giving up and trying to run the other one down. As someone said to me earlier today, they just loved the game, and I'm sitting there going, I might have passed away 3 or 4 times in the middle of that game. So thankfully I'm still standing here, and the man upstairs is because of that, because it was not a fun game to coach, but I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
How much do you chalk that up to just so much experience on this team, a lot of close games last year? Did it kind of pay off, I guess?
When you say the experience, I just think about the happenings. You are what's happened to you in your life. That's your experiences. And based off the close games last year and then being in one this year and realizing how much more it takes to win one of those and how if you're not giving 100% effort, that you could end up on the bottom side of it. I thought the effort was there on both teams. But obviously the time didn't run out on us.
I guess just going off of that, you lost a lot of close games last year. This year, the season's still early, but you won a really close game. What has changed? Is it just the experience, or?
The thing I'm going to bring up is this. We've won more close games over my career than we have lost last year. To me, last year was an outlier, okay, something that was not normal. And what we want to do is we want to be on the plus side, not the negative side of those things. The analytics says the numbers should balance out. We don't want the analytics to work. We want to win more than our share when it comes to the close games.
Steve and Kate?
Dino, you talked about the penalties a little bit, that Purdue had a few more penalties and had one extra turnover, and some of those little things turned into a big thing and helped with the outcome of the game. Do you use those things as you're watching the game back with the players and when you meet as teaching points moving forward? You know, specifically I'm talking about what happened after that go-ahead touchdown, you know, to allow you guys to get out to the 50-yard line with the kick return. And, you know, even though it didn't happen to you, do you use that as an example of what can happen?
There is no doubt. I mean, one of the analogies, you guys all there, come up with the same analogies again. Give me, okay, Gail Sayers said this once, give me 18 inches of daylight, that's all I need. 18 inches, okay, fantastic running back. Where are we going with it? I'll take it straight back to you. You give me 18 inches in any football game, I can change the outcome of that game. 18 inches. Think about the throw to a Rondé, if it's 6 inches further, okay? I can show you 2 or 3 plays of number 15 not catching the ball, and he caught everything. But if you gave him 6 more inches, he might have had another 100 yards in receptions and 2 touchdowns. And our guys were all over him. And when you're playing 2 really good teams, if you take that and put it where you want, you can change games. So it is important to point those things out, and there's no doubt we went back through that game on both sides of the balls and talked about the positives and the negatives. One of the things that's really big on this team, we talk about, you guys are going to start laughing, we actually had this word before we came here, but we talk about not giving somebody else your juice. Okay, there's an energy, there's an aura about a team that's together, and you don't want to take that and let someone else, quote unquote, get into your head and play mind games with you, Jedi mind tricks with you when you're supposed to be locked into the Ohana and they've got you doing something else. So I thought the team did a fantastic job of keeping their juice and not giving their juice away, and then you guys get to judge the other team.
Hey, Coach, you've had a lot of wins here, but you know, I think about Virginia Tech, Clemson, Florida State. Where did this win against Purdue rank for you in your tenure here, and how do you avoid a letdown this week off that high and emotional roller coaster that was Saturday?
I don't know if I could do the last part. If I could bottle that, I wouldn't. I might be working somewhere else or working for a lot of other people. But the game ranks extremely high. It was a very difficult game. It's a very good opponent. I know that coach. I've gone against him before earlier in his career, and you knew he was going to be good when he was at Western Kentucky, and he is good at Purdue. He's changed that program around. Those kids were well coached, and it was going to be a battle. And just like the quarterback situation where the score is 9-3 with their offense, and I'm sitting there going, you're not going to, that guy's too good. He's eventually going to get his. And boy, was he getting it in the fourth quarter when it all changed. But staying together and staying locked in, we found a way to win it. It's a big win. And I mean, if you guys watched it, it should be a satisfying win because you could play that game 10 times and it could come out 5-5.
Coach, wanted to ask about the trick plays, the Philly special, the flea flicker. How much time went into preparing for those last week, and how much is LaQuinn Allen throwing the ball in practice?
First of all, okay, it's not a trick play, it's a special play. So trick plays you only do every blue moon. Special plays you work on. So it's a special play. We've worked on it many times. And yes, when we worked on it, he threw the ball a lot better than he threw it in the game. But that was his first throw collegiately in a football game with the loud house and a lot of people there, and it didn't go exactly the way it always went in practice. But I would anticipate the next time he gets his opportunity somewhere in his career that it'll be a lot better. LaQuinn is somebody that we trusted. He had demonstrated that he could perform the skill. And although we were disappointed in the toss, we know that it'll be better next time.
Steve?
Quick one, I wanted to try and sneak in. Any update on Trevor? You know, when you might get him back?
I'm hoping that he'll be back with us soon.
And then on a different note, what's it like to prepare for this week, knowing that Nye and Beck had a lot to do with not only Armstrong, but they're deeply familiar with the whole team. Like, what are their roles this week?
I think the biggest thing is that, obviously it's an emotional game. As a coach, I've been in those games, other coaches have been in those games. It's an emotional game when you got your old family and you're in front of them again. And those kids are going to want to prove something as well, that, hey, I'm all grown up, that I can ride this bike without the training wheels, without you being here. So it'll be an emotional game. I'm sure that there'll be maybe some hugs and hellos either before or after the game. Either way, it doesn't bother me. The game is the game. But we need to, as a family, we need to understand that it's bigger than all that. It's about Syracuse versus Virginia, and we need to bottle up that emotion until the final whistle, the final clock ticks 0, and then they can unleash some of that stuff and hug each other up.
Are those guys like doing stuff with the defense? Like, are Nye Beck talking to your defensive players about Armstrong's, what they know about Armstrong, what they know about the receivers and the line? Like, is it a little different this week in that sense?
Those guys work for Syracuse University. They need to do everything in their power to make sure that Syracuse University has success on Friday night.
You know, you heard how loud it was inside the Dome Saturday. How big is it for you guys to have the fans backing you guys up?
First of all, I thought the fans were really good on Saturday. Saturday at 12, I don't know if they just woke up or they didn't go to sleep, but I was more than satisfied with the noise that they pumped in. Now this Friday night at 7 o'clock, we need to bring it. I mean, the whole country needs to see exactly what it's like to go to school here and be a part of what's going on in the Dome and in the Loud House.
Do you think they've had a big impact?
I know it's had a big impact, and I want it to be a bigger impact. We need more.
Coach, with Isaiah being out, what does that do to the receiving room, and has there been anyone that's made a little bit of headway toward that wide receiver 1 position?
I know that I would imagine that Damian's going to be up in the first slot, but that's always been an or position for us, and we expect some other guy to step up in there. I can't tell you right now who that is.
With the Arizona State coaching job opening up, do you have any comment on Tony White possibly going?
You know what? I don't have any comments on that job or any of my guys going for any other job, because right now they're paid for Syracuse University, and I know what they're going to say. They're focused on what's going on Friday night at 7 o'clock.
And then on a different note, I know Sean Tucker had, I think, 10 fewer touches than he had last week. Is there kind of an ideal number for you guys, how much you want him to get the ball and how much he's prepared to get the ball in the game?
We want to give it to him as much as we can. A lot of those minus 10 rushes was our third down percentage. You know what I mean? When you're not converting on third down, you're going to get less plays. When you get less plays, there's less opportunities, not only for Tucker, for everybody. So we need to do a better job in the first half, definitely, on our third down percentages to make sure we get the plays that we need to get the ball around to the people we need to get it to.
Coach, on UVA, how do you plan for Keaton Thompson?
Say that again.
How do you plan to defend Keaton Thompson?
Why am I blanking?
The receiver, the football player that lines up.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. There you go. The big, tall dude. Yes, sir. We don't have anybody that can jump with him. He's a big, tall target and very, very well coached. And you saw, even based off of last year, the numbers that he put in. But, we're going to line somebody up on him. And, once again, he is really, really good. Okay, he's different than the guy from Purdue 15. He's different than him, but he's really, really good. But you guys, it's the combination of the receiver with the quarterback. Brennan Armstrong is, again, he's one of those guys. He's got numerous deliveries. I sound like a tape recorder. He's very, very accurate with the football. Last year I thought that he was either number 1 or number 2, being the best ones in the conference. And you got Leary from NC State. You had the guy from Pitt that went to the Steelers that they're talking about could be a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this conference. And Brennan Armstrong is another one that's going to come in. And you guys are going to say he can't be better than the Purdue guy. And then whoosh, there he is. Yeah, he's really, really good, and he's really, really talented. So.
Stephen,
Dino, playing off that fan question, there's a tangible excitement, I think, around this team right now. And, people are already talking about 5-0 and a week off before NC State, and what could that be like? And, how do you go about keeping the players grounded and not looking too far ahead and managing success while everybody else around you is, chattering about 5-0 and maybe 6-0 and what the season could be?
Stephen would say I would eliminate media press conferences and I would keep everybody away from the players. They can't listen to the noise. You've heard the words, the rat poisons, everybody's got better terms for it than I do. The bottom line is they need to lock in and focus on the process. And the process is being 1-0 every week. And, the team understands when the train left at the end of August who was on the train and who wasn't on the train. And when I say that, I mean players, media, family members, community, roommates, next door neighbors. We all know who was on the train. And now we're where we're at, and there seems to be like there's a whole bunch of extra cars on the back of the train that weren't there before. They know the difference, and if they keep doing the process and they stay with that and understand that we're playing one team a week, and this is a short week, it'll give us our best opportunity to win. It doesn't mean we will, but it'll give us our best opportunity to put our best foot forward.
Emily and Kate?
Now that we're a couple weeks into the season, you've seen Schrader back in some game situations. What can you say about the impact that Beck has had on Schrader as a quarterback?
I didn't understand the question. I got a little bit. Give it to me one more time.
What impact have you seen Beck have directly on
You
Schrader's
said Beck.
skills?
I didn't hear the word
Yeah,
Beck.
Jason
Okay,
Beck.
there you go. Now I got what you're saying. He has a very calming effect. You know, Schrader's a little, he's a little high strung. So Beck can get after you, but that's not how he's wired. He's a little bit different. So they're a good fit. They make a good couple. They're not odd. That's old school. You don't know about the odd couple. Yeah, I know. Axe has to help you with that one. You can tell her about the odd couple later. But they're a good fit.
Kate?
Hi again, Coach. Just kind of going off of Steve's question, with all the preseason standings and rankings, does it give you any type of satisfaction at this point to be receiving 7 votes in the AP Top 25 and to be getting all this hype, or is it just block that out?
AP's Associated Press, huh? No. When the coaching poll, that matters a little bit because coaches look at it and they see it and they know it, and that's not to take away from the media. I'm not trying to slam you guys. But, I saw some media stuff before the season started. Well-written articles with opinions. I just hope they all remember their opinions of their well-written articles. So we understand it's one game at a time with the process, one game a week, and hopefully we'll be 1-0 on Saturday morning.
I understand a lot of Purdue's production you chalk up to them having a really good quarterback and wide receiver. Is there something on your defensive side you try and learn from that experience as a whole? Is there like I guess an emphasis to try and get better from that?
I think it was a fantastic test of perseverance, where, here you are, a really good something or other, and this guy's still getting the ball in there, and you got to keep playing. You can't get down on yourself. And, I think back, there was one play, I'm going to talk about the quarterback again and the receiver. There was one play where he threw a deep ball over the middle. It was really, really deep, and the guy caught the ball, and I think Garrett tackled him. Obviously, Garrett tackled him. But when he released the ball, the guy was about, 15 yards down the field. And the trajectory that he put on the ball took the ball about, 40, 50 yards down the field. But he threw the ball super, 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 super high, which unusually high for that pass, just so that the receiver could get more separation from Garrett, and Garrett couldn't make a play. So now when the ball dropped, instead of the ball being here and Garrett could make a play on it, the ball dropped over here where Garrett couldn't make a play on it. And I'm sitting here going, he's got that throw too? I mean, it was like watching two really good tennis players paint the lines. You know what I mean? There was some stuff going on, you guys. If my hair's starting to stand up. They're standing up. From a coaching standpoint, watching somebody really, really talented and gifted, there was that's a game to watch. It was, after I watched it the third time, it was still exciting to watch, and there was still some fantastic play on both sides of the ball.
What does that do for Garrett to be able to have a balanced matchup like that against one of the best guys in the country?
I think the hardest thing to do for a player that's really, really good is find challenges for him. Because when you get your really best, when you can get them to where they're in a challenge, and now they see how good someone else can be, which forces them, if they can't settle. They can't be the same to be even better. I think that's what we're going to get out of Garrett Williams. Garrett Williams is a master painter at his art, okay? He's a master painter, and I think we're going to get to see even more from him. And I don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to continue to grow as these quarterbacks keep coming in and these receivers keep coming in. I think he's going to morph into something else, turn into something else that's even better than what he is right now.
And time for two more, if anybody's got them.
I guess, sorry.
Steve,
I was just gonna say, I
yeah.
mean, we talked obviously about the storylines with, Beck and I growing up against Virginia and knowing their offense. I guess what can you just say, your overall impressions of this Virginia team? They've had a couple close calls. They had a close call against Old Dominion, but they won the game. What stands out to you about the Cavaliers?
The thing that stands out to me is that they're young, they're eager. It reminds me of our first year that I was here. And then we had this big, powerful Virginia Tech team coming in that everybody said there was no way that we could play with them. And then boom, all of a sudden, the era was started, quote unquote. And Tony Elliott is good. He's been on championship teams. He's a fabulous coach. Got to meet him. He's a fine young man. And I'm sure he's ready for one of those wins to happen. And they had the two nice wins, close wins that teach teams how to win. They had the performance that they didn't like a little bit out there in Champaign. But they're coming in here, and he's been in this place, and he's been in this locker room plenty of times. Okay, so he's very familiar with us, and hopefully, it'll be one of those situations where we're happy when it's all said and done.
Last question.
Coach, you talked about wanting a receiver to step up in that room. Do you think Aronde can be that guy?
Well, I tell you what, he sure did put on an audition. You're talking about auditioning, okay? Somebody who wants the job. Wow, excuse me for the whistle. That might be the first I've ever done as a head coach in a press conference. I mean, what he did was impressive. So I don't know if he got the job, but he's definitely getting an interview.